Skoo Walker on this special edition of the Lake Forest Podcast.
Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers and listeners just like you. Shark Guy Beach Fishing is a premier South Florida beach fishing experience out of Longboat Key, Florida. Their world-renowned captains not only put you on the fish, but to help you and your family make a memory of a lifetime. Check them out on Facebook or at sharkguybeachfishing.com to schedule an outing. Shark Guy is your guy for your next charter. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Reverend Luke Back from the Church of the Holy Spirit, Matt A., Elizabeth C., Coastal Lance, Otto, RDM, Johnny C. And we'd like to thank the Breakfast Club of Lake Forest, Captain Mike's in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Brat Stop in Kenosha, Wisconsin as well, the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan, Illinois, and then the Greentown Tavern in Waukegan.
Dude, you look so good. You know what they say? Sunlight disinfects everything.
And then I'm very disinfected then.
So, Skoo,
But I am affected.
So, Skoo, I'm trying to put the pieces together. A lot of things have happened the last couple of days.
You think?
And I'm going to try to piece it together because remember, I'm a newcomer.
Oh, okay.
You're an old comer.
Have you hit 5 years yet?
2018, I got here.
Oh, so this year you're no longer a newcomer.
23, I think.
You can roll over this coming year. That's what I said. Then you can roll over to not the newcomers club, but the whatever club that is now. They call for people that are coming off.
Old comer, the old comer.
Yeah.
All right, so let's. There could be a couple of people out there that have not watched their podcast or listened to it, so let's clue them in.
And there they are.
We had. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Skoo, because I got it wrong on the telephone earlier with you, so I want to make sure I get this right. The caucus committee gets together. 40, let's see, 9 times 4 is 36. 36 people from each ward. And then you have, 43 total with the executive?
7, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they all get together and they interview people for positions to place in spots that are openings, for instance, like mayor, the high school board, the grade school board and whatnot. And so they put they interview them and say, you know what, we think these are the best people. They put them up on the cards and they say, we suggest that you vote for these people. Is that how it goes, Skoo?
Not necessarily. I mean, first off, the people, the alderman, the mayor, and the school board are all elected by the community. They are brought forward by the caucus, saying the caucus has interviewed, done their due diligence, and we are moving forward for mayor, for alderman, for school board, these people, and the caucus is standing by them. That's who is going to the election on election day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no approval after that, really.
When you say moving forward, that means they get on the ballot for us to vote on them,
yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. At the real election time and day, I think it's Tuesday next year or something. I don't know the exact date. But that is the process. And then that's a solid closed-end process. When, for example, Randy Tack is brought forward by the caucus as the caucus's representation, which is the entire Lake Forest community representation for mayor, is Randy Tack. Now, really, kind of, there's no question about that. That's how the process of the caucus works. And I've always said in our podcast, Pete, it's not the process, it's the people. And the process works, and it's always worked. sometimes when it breaks, it's not because of the process, it's because of the people. And lately it's been people, not process, as you're well aware of.
Yeah.
And so this process worked to its fullest. And then traditionally, and I believe it was a couple years ago, something was changed. So for example, so this meeting where they supposedly, I want to say, and I'm going to use these air quotes. I hate using bunny rabbits, but air
Annoyed.
quotes. It to come vote for aldermen and school board members is not really come vote. It's always been a meet and greet the candidates that are representing the caucus that we have chosen. A couple of years ago, some brilliant Einstein, I don't know who it was, decided to change that. And it's not in the bylaws.
Yeah.
Because I just read the bylaws.
Yeah.
But it somehow, somewhere down the line, and I think it's been lately where, these executive members of the caucus decide if things don't go their way, let's just change the bylaws, which again, you know those pretty well. So supposedly
I know they were down for a while.
So somebody changed the bylaws a few years ago to say, let's revote. Well, it's not a revote. It's against the caucus process to then have someone say, come vote for who you already voted for. Because the community votes for each of the caucus members in their ward to carry out that work. And there's only, so like Plan Commission, BRB, those people don't go to a public vote. Those go, once the caucus approves them, they go to the mayor, who the mayor can assign. If he doesn't want them, he doesn't take them. He can assign whoever he wants, or she can assign whoever they want. But the only real boards and commissions, if you want to call it commissions, that go to the general Lake Forest residents to vote is mayor, alderman, and school board. And that process is further ramped up because the caucus does their all due diligence of interviewing and going through that whole process of determining, saying here who are the people we're representing. There shouldn't be another vote. And there shouldn't be. It's come and meet the candidates as opposed to vote for the candidates, because so if you don't like the process, if you don't like who the caucus has selected for mayor, alderman, school board, guess what you can do? You can run against them. I'm holding.
Now, part of that process, Skoo, in the bylaws, the way it's written,
it's not. I just read them. It's not in there.
Okay.
It's not.
We'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
Let me know when you're done, and then I will tell you what I heard.
Go ahead.
Okay. I heard that Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm an early bird. I was there at 3:01, and it was very busy. Met a lot of loyal listeners and watchers. Thank you. And the meeting started at 8 o'clock or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it went from 8 to 10. You're too close to the screen for me, Skoo. You're making me uncomfortable. You can't turn your monitor to, oh God. Anyways.
Is my nose in the way?
No, your face is. So
am I invading your computer space?
I feel very invaded. So I'm trying to piece this together. Okay. Look, there's two sides to every story, and I'm sure Beidler and JoAnn, what's her name? Seidler?
Desmond.
JoAnn Desmond. Okay. And we've always said this from day one, Skoo. We'll let anybody come on, right? They can say their side. Doesn't mean we're not going to talk crap on them, but we'll let them come on. But I guess there is something where there's a technicality where, and you can debate me on this, I'm just telling you this is what happened. JoAnn and Prue seem to be very organized, that they brought in quote unquote 300 people to vote or whatever you want to call it and say, you know what? We
Right.
do not
It's
want...
a vote. It's a vote. They call it a vote
Okay.
now. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
debating that.
Okay. So strategically, the process, they played the game smartly. I'll give it to them. They brought in all these people at the very end, and they said, you know what? We don't want them. And the caucus was in a quandary because technically, according to the bylaws, what I heard that you're saying is not right.
Right.
Okay.
Can I share my screen? I can bring them up because I was reading.
Here, hold on here. Let me share it. Please. Go right ahead.
Where is it?
It's the green share button.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were screen sharing.
I allowed you. I gave you the power, Skoo.
What is it? Oh, it's the green one.
Who's dumb? Who's dumber?
I don't know. Let's ask Prudence.
Oh, here you go. You got it. You got it. Okay.
What do you want me to scroll through and show where
just
it says nothing?
Point to me what you're talking about.
Well, I can't point to it because there's nothing in there that says
No,
that.
no. I mean, scroll down and just say our section 201, section 202. What are you pointing or referencing?
Well, Pete, that's what you're not understanding what I'm saying. You reference it's in the bylaws. I'm saying there's nothing in the bylaws that talk about voting for, having that meeting to vote for the candidates.
Okay.
Here's the meetings. Annual and
All right.
spring meetings. Purposes to consider pertinent business. Receive financial report, blah, 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 blah. Caucus shall include recommendations for election of the office of mayor, alderman, election of board at the annual meeting. Okay. Introduce the candidates for the above reference at the annual meeting. Elect the officers at the spring meeting. Officers meaning consider and approve bylaws. Notice the annual meeting in spring should be given. Formal announcement shall meet public via print, blah, blah, blah. Annual meeting shall be held date, blah, blah, candidacy, elected office and 60 days prior to filing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Nowhere does it say.
Hold on. Keep going down. Keep going down.
Nowhere does it.
Open call meeting by ward.
This is all about caucus members and coming to the thing. Caucus committee members, old nude meeting, officers roles. Boy, they got to keep changing those. President, blah, blah, treasurer, election of the officers and candidates, boom, 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 vacancies, executive committee, a whole section on the executive committee that needs to expand. Caucus committee, now it talks about the caucus committee and the members there, their appointment, vacancies, etc., relocation, ward chairs, what a quorum is, voting on how they vote, not about, oh, here's your favorite one, Pete, removal. Removal. As I said before, when you're removed, your removal was a violation of this because there's nowhere does it say what, won't get into that. But again, I mean, so here,
well,
future
to be clear,
service.
I quit.
I know you did. Public availability by caucus of bylaws, policy and process procedures, nothing about the voting, policy and term limits, blah, blah, blah. Geographic balance, amendments, caucus approval. All proposed amended bylaws should be subject to committee at the annual meetings.
Ah, there it is.
Hold
on. Any proposed amendment shall be effective upon
amendments.
Vote of no less than 2/3.
Yeah, amendments. They're talking about changing amendments to the caucus, the bylaws.
All right.
So
I just saw 2/3.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
Okay.
But you're at the bottom of the bylaws, and not one iota in there says anything about voting for the alderman, school board, or mayor after they've been. It says right here, meetings, the annual meeting that be convened, public caucus. Where is it? Right. Annual meeting. Introduce the candidates for the above referenced positions at the annual meeting. Introduce, not vote. Meet and greet. Come meet our candidates.
Skoo, we got to have these guys come on. I got a feeling.
How do I unshare this? Stop share.
Here. Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is, this vote that we all did from 3 to 8,
it
shouldn't be done, because that's what we as citizens do when we elect our caucus ward people. We're giving them the authority by voting them in to do that, to bring forward, interview board members, blah, 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 aldermen, mayor, school board members. You guys do all that, and then you go through that process. And then when you guys decide in the mayor or alderman's, this is who.
First of all, when you say caucus, you guys, I'm part of you. I'm no longer with anybody.
No, you are, because you're a caucus member.
Okay.
But you're a citizen of Lake Forest. You are part of the caucus. The people that we elect to bring forward members are part of the caucus committee. Their role is this. Now, once that role is complete on a mayor, alderman, etc., and they say, this is who we're bringing forward, that's kind of it. That's who goes, when the caucus has to file, the candidates and all that. Those are the people that are doing. Now, you throw in this idiotic maneuver of voting. So now you get into this whole thing.
It's not idiotic. There's some
idiotic
concern, Skoo. I'm just saying,
I'm going to say idiotic, and I'm going to stand by it, because it is idiotic that you go and vote.
But it's real.
It's idiotic, and it should not be in there. It was a process someone put in place to further muddy the process of the caucus. That event should be a meet and greet the candidate, ask questions, let them talk, why they're here, and move on. Not to vote. And when we say that Prue and JoAnn were smart, they're not smart. They just took advantage of something. I'm not going to say it's smart, because it's not smart.
I'll say
because
crafty.
They're idiots, as it was. It's scrappy or whatever, but it's wrong. Because here's my thing: is what they're doing is they're trying to undermine the caucus process. And shame on Prue, who I really like, and I worked with her on several things. But you know what? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't, because you weren't selected by the caucus process. If you want to run against that, that's fine. But don't try to undermine it by saying, I'm going to gather all these people to come vote no, because you know what that does? That blows up the caucus, because now what does the caucus have to do? Thank God. Yeah, and thank God, and I'm hoping that the caucus committee has some stones, as I said the other day, because, David Hunt already did send out an email saying there was some noise being done. We have our process, boom, 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 and move forward. Now, just because those people voted no, so let's just say if Dave doesn't have any stones and says, we're going to throw Randy out, and we're going to get get somebody new. Okay. Well, you can't just appoint a woman. You have to go through the process of selecting the best candidate again. So now they're caught in this wave of things. And who knows what happens if a woman's chosen and I decide to say she's not the best woman, so I'm going to gather 500 people to come vote no. Already you have a never-ending battle that should never have been in the first place, because someone a few years ago decided, instead of a meet and greet, we can't make a decision as a caucus, so let's have the people come out and vote again. But that vote is nothing. It shouldn't even be a vote, because we vote on election day for these people. You see what I'm saying? I'm upset because someone I respected and I thought would be a good mayor has turned out to be horrible. And you know what? great selection by the caucus not picking her. I hate to say it, but and JoAnn Desmond, she's gonna go to the grave screaming about the train thing. She ran her against Era, and
Era.
And here's my thing: how smart is JoAnn? She thought she got screwed. Why didn't she go and do it the same way that they're doing it now? She could have done that back then. She could have said, "I'm going to gather a bunch of people and go vote no for Era."
Yeah.
So to answer your question, no, she's not smart. Like, she can have all these degrees and all that, but okay, so she's a little conniving, maybe,
Yes.
to do what she did. That's fine,
Well,
but I'm not going to say smart. But
well, okay, semantics, but
semantics.
They have to pull that move because if you contest it, she knows she would lose.
Right. And
so that was the play.
And by doing that, let's just say again, hopefully David Hunt, as president of the caucus, has the stones to say no. I hope he doesn't send out another email.
He doesn't.
I know he doesn't, but I hope.
But I know who does. Let me know when I can speak.
Oh, go ahead. No. Who does?
All right. I can't confirm this. I just hear things, Skoo.
I know you do.
I go to that third rail and I put my ear on.
Don't. There's no third rail. Ask JoAnn. All her efforts, we don't have that third rail.
And I hear things. Now, this could have happened or it couldn't have happened. I've heard it from at least 4 different sources. Okay. You had the vote and all this stuff went down. Dr. Tack didn't know anything about this till like way later.
So after he
like 11 o'clock
out,
at night.
Yeah, like oh, by the way, you're thrown out.
Oh, by the way, we
how about that email if that happened?
Oh my God. Well,
hold
on.
How about that email? Okay, I'm sorry.
Look, I didn't know anything about the guy. I just knew that it felt better than hey, you know what? If all things are equal, vote for the woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It felt better.
And that's what they were saying.
Yeah. So they have an emergency meeting Thursday night, and Tack shows up, and I guess there was some kind of division in the caucus where, well, I guess the public has spoken. We should change our vote. Blah blah.
300
blah.
people out of what 15,000 that can vote.
Well, whatever.
Wait. Let me just check that. 300.
Yeah.
Divided by 15,000. Oh, that's 2%.
I know, but the way it's written, it's who's ever at the meeting that night.
It's not written there.
All right.
I just showed you.
Okay, Skoo, there's so many attorneys that want to come on, but
don't need an attorney.
I can't confirm or deny, but Tack went in front of the caucus and said, hey, look, you MFers, you selected me to go forward. And if you push me aside, you have basically blown up the caucus.
Right.
Right.
And I said that at our last meeting. If that was to happen, it blows up the caucus. And guess what else it does? You want to talk about lawsuits and lawyers? The bylaws, unless there's a secret bylaw lying somewhere. Again, I'm not arguing with you, Pete. I'm pointing the facts when you say it's in the bylaw. It is not in the bylaws. And that is all I'm saying is you can, and JoAnn, Desmond, and Prue, you can scream all you want. Show me where this is all legit.
And come on the show. Hey,
come on the show.
Women hater or a man haters, come on the show.
And all I got to say is, I don't know who the group was that was calling us Dumb and Dumber, but
those two.
If it's those two, I want to kind of turn it back and really, ladies, who really is Dumb and Dumber? Because
hold on. Go ahead. Skoo, there's been a lack of leadership on the caucus for a long time.
Long time.
Long time. Tack goes up and he drops 2 tons of brass balls in front of everybody. And he
Right.
takes all that division and they all get united. That's a leader. I'm in.
Well, you know what? But here's the thing, Pete, is I agree with you 100%. But you know what? How that should have been stopped weeks ago
Yeah.
is the quote unquote president of the caucus should have stood up and said the same thing and never even be in this position. Instead of saying come and vote, and and then everyone starting on the outside is starting to beg people to come and vote. It's not a vote. I don't care. Tell me I'm wrong. It's wrong. It is wrong to even say voting for something that's already been voted. And Randy's absolutely right. Look at their website. Here's our guy we're supporting. They sent out a citywide email saying here's who we're supporting, and now they're going to send out something. We screwed up as a group. We were bullied into turning down our candidate after we went through the process, and now we have to redo it again because there's a small faction of people that feel that they were wrong,
that were organized, better organized,
and we need to acquiesce to them. So we have to redo our process again. And by the way, what's the timetable and how does this all fit? Because all this stuff kind of strategically is done to fall in line with having to file candidacies and all that with the county and all that. So as we're tripping through all this stuff, how does when we break that process, what else does that do? So again, I mean, first off, JoAnn Desmond, I don't know her. I've seen her perform, and I'm not impressed, even though she has 35 different degrees. Again, Prue, I like Prue a lot. I'm really, really disappointed in Prue that she went to that extent where, hey, listen, Prue was the leading candidate for mayor, according to sources. And, and it was up
she didn't show up at the interview.
It was up to the second interview where she was the hero, and which would make sense. I mean, let's go back to our previous podcast and talk about how we were supporting Prue. And then something happened, where Randy in the third and final interview outshined everyone else, and Prue kind of, crapped the bed, so to speak.
Entitled.
Well, no, I don't really want to say entitled, but I want to say she crapped the bed. It's like it's a sport thing. It's like the World Series. I mean, you're going through the playoffs and you're playing different rounds to get to the World Series, and you're one play away and you screwed it. Now you're not going to the World Series. So something happened, but again, accept the process. Again, Prue was the beneficiary of the caucus process for years, as she volunteered and she was an alderman and all that. So she was a big caucus supporter. JoAnn Desmond was not, even though I think she's on a board or commission. But
I'd love to have those two on just to.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't get their way, so they want to blow up everything. I want to see Prue, if she, run against Randy.
Yeah, contest it.
But I would like to see these awful people that want to blow up the caucus. Let's say Prue wins. Now, Prue, let me ask you a question. The city of Lake Forest is run by the caucus system, and our boards and commissions are all put together by our hardworking volunteers and all that. You bypass that process. You don't like the caucus, so how are you going to work as a mayor with the caucus?
Well, Skoo, I mean, the nice thing about us is everything we say is recorded, right? Well, most of it.
Is it really? Wait a minute.
You can go back in time. You can see when I resigned, even before that, talking about all these issues that have led up to this cluster.
I think we've talked about it in the past that, I remember the one thing when, who was the last president? I forget her name.
Fail?
Kim
Fail.
Remember when she was leaving, I said the biggest challenge David Hunt is going to face is the appointment of the new mayor and alderman,
Yep.
not knowing what was going to happen, and he has to step up because he has to really show leadership, and he hasn't. And now it's into this where he was bullied into doing this and skirting the process. And again, I'm going to caveat because I know you don't like the process and you think it should be blown up and all that. But here's my thing is, let's just say the caucus is blown up. First off, the caucus is just a over-exaggerated HR department.
Recruiting team.
Yeah. And the city doesn't have the staff to do that, nor should they. But that's why the caucus.
They could.
No, they don't have the staff to do it. You don't.
They can.
How?
Budget $250,000 and you get a recruiting team.
Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway,
all right.
that's a whole different conversation.
Agree
they don't
disagree.
They don't have that capability. That's why we have this great caucus system. Let's just leave it at that. And
It's
if
not
they
great.
do, it works.
Not
works.
really.
Yeah, it does.
Not at present.
That's because people, Pete, a process can't run a process can't run successfully without the right people. And it's broken because we have the wrong people. And our president of the caucus is a spineless person because he can't stand up. He has to wait till have someone else come in that they've the mayor to be that they've moved forward to basically, undress him. Oh, no. Now we're supporting Randy because he came in and yelled at us. Well, you know what, Dave? That's your job. That's where it's broken.
I agree.
The people break the process. That's
here.
simple,
Skoo, let me throw this one out.
Yeah.
One of the things that I heard doesn't mean it's right. It's just what I heard. Prudence interview well, and you can look at her contribution records for politics. It's a lot of money on the Democratic side. Should that play a role in the decision? No. Okay.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't, because the whole process is set up. It's non-political. You don't bring you check your political stuff at the door, just like you check your agendas and all that at the door. And I know it's not perfect, but that's kind
would
of
have been better if she wants to vote for Democrats and invest in them, put the same amount of money on the Republican side, so it's even.
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I'm looking at the caucus, Pete, as nonpartisan. That in a way it should be. I don't look at it like you do as Democrat versus Republican or vice versa.
It's a vetting process. That's what the caucus is, and if
it doesn't vet based on your political view. And if it does, it's broken. And that's the people that if they decide I'm going to vet somebody based on their politics, that's wrong. And that's in the bylaws.
Well, you're not supposed to have an agenda. So what does that mean?
Right. Let's use JoAnn Desmond. Should she be on a border commission? Plan commission? No. BRB? No. Well, know why? Because she is driven on eliminating that third rail. That's an agenda. Why do you want to be on here? Because I want to make sure that the third rail is.
But how do you quantify that? I can quantify that there's a political agenda based on money donated. How do you quantify JoAnn or what's her name? Desmond?
Desmond.
Okay. How do you quantify her third rail thing?
What do you mean quantify?
She has an agenda. How do you know she has an agenda?
Because she's made it public.
Wait, she's what?
She's made it public how she feels about this.
Public statements.
She ran for alderman, Pete, on the third rail, not having it there. That's an agenda. Okay. So if she comes through the caucus system and wants to be on there on a border commission, the answer would be no. You have an agenda. It doesn't matter if it's a 1 one-sided agenda. It's you want to use the process to push your agenda. You're
Okay.
supposed to check those. Now, how do you quantify that everyone doesn't have agenda? You can't, because everyone has an agenda on something, right? But
That's my point.
But you hope through this vetting process
Yeah.
of 9 people in each ward, interviewing these people and kind of asking questions that's going to pull out. Not questions like, what do you do to prepare for this? It's questions, everyday questions you have with somebody, kind of to try to, it's a skill, right? You got to, be able to have a skill
Skoo,
to kind
you've
of
been around a
pull stuff.
long time. Any of this crap go on back in the day?
No. Unprecedented.
So
No.
this is weak stick
I know.
tactics.
That's what I'm saying. It's unprecedented, and it kind of is. It's hypocritical, because it's like, okay, so let's say that works in Prue. First off, who's to even say if the caucus is bullied into knocking Randy out? Okay, so technically they would have to go through that objective process again, right? Interview other candidates. They can't just go, oh, we're going to pick a woman. No, you can't do that. If you're going to force to change a process, then you have to go through the process again, right? I mean, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah. That is the worst thing.
And my thing is, if you're not going to pick Randy, then you got to interview Randy again. I mean, you're going to blackball him now?
Yeah.
I mean, but see, that's the whole thing. It's like, were they smart in doing what they did? No. I mean, did they take advantage of some idiocy?
Crafty, whatever the word is. Okay.
Whatever. But
it's a maneuver.
But the thing is, it's a bad maneuver, because you're basically want to blow up something, and
It was a coup. It was a coup.
You know what? Don't say it laughing, because I said that to a friend of mine. I said, this is pretty much a coup d'etat at the lowest level, but again, it comes to leadership. And David Hunt, I sure hope he doesn't send out another email, because here's what it does: is majority of the people in the community don't get involved in this stuff, right? They don't. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, right. And you know why? Because they say, hey, we got a process, a caucus
doesn't affect me.
It doesn't. Well, no. What I'm saying is, a lot of people that don't understand how this is set up go, you know what? Hey, I don't really get involved until election day, because because this system that's set up, I trust it. It's done good. We have a very successful city. So I'm not going to question that, right? If they're going to say this is the person, great. I'll go on election day and vote. Yeah. And I don't know if it's, apathy or anything, but I just think it's a lot of people think this is we're saying Prue and JoAnn and Desmond.
Yeah.
We're saying that from what I'm told, and I've seen some of the emails, that's why we're using those women, right? We're not just randomly picking.
Well, no, people. I put the copy and paste of the emails.
Right.
And you know what? Hey, Desmond and
come on the show.
Come on the show.
Prue was a fan of ours until she called us Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. I was told she was like, she listens and all that. And now maybe we're not.
Well, we'll let anybody come on. It doesn't mean we're not going to talk smack back at them. You got to prove your point.
No. I just go ahead.
Well, from what I hear, TAC, they made the right choice just based on what he allegedly did at that caucus meeting and what Prue and JoAnn did on these tactics to throw this coup. The right call was made.
Yeah, and I agree, and I encourage, Prue, if you feel wronged by the caucus and feel you're the best candidate for mayor, run. I mean, there's already one person running against the caucus, and the caucus doesn't have a lot of money, but anytime they are faced up against a contested election, whether it's school board, mayor, council, whatever, it costs money. Yeah, it costs money, and it makes the caucus people work a little bit harder than they really have. I shouldn't say have to, should do, because it's contested. But and you mentioned, Pete, that's where, people want to donate money, is donating money to the caucus to help back up, the contested election.
Yeah.
But run against the caucus. I mean, it's a tough uphill battle. But I've always said if a sitting or past sitting
That's what we're
alderman
saying.
runs for mayor,
If you would have done the right thing, except, all right, you got dinged for a second time, and you think you got the votes, then contest it. That's all we're saying.
when you say ding for a second time,
I think she's been up for mayor twice.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's
Prue,
just
come
this
on
time. But what I'm saying is, with her too, is something happened. It has nothing to do with money or anything. Something happened between her second interview and her third interview. So, I mean, a lot of people don't interview well, but she was going good after the first two interviews as supposedly the top candidate. And then Randy picked it up, and she kind of, so it's a beautiful process. I mean,
and it sounds like Randy didn't take anything for granted, and Prue did.
Well, probably. And here's the other thing, Pete. I hate saying men versus women thing, because it's not about that, even though I think some people want it this way. But how many women are on the caucus committee? It's
it's almost half. You're right. It's almost half.
So, I mean, and here's just my thing. If Prue and JoAnn and Desmond had issues, what they should have been doing, not at this quote unquote vote, what they should have been doing prior to the full caucus voting on the candidates, which they do at an all caucus meeting, prior to this little excursion of, that's when Prue should have been going to, if she wanted to really stake in the ground and run for mayor, shouldn't she be talking to the wards and all that, and the caucus? And, this is really what, you could have done this and had these issues way up ahead of time. And, my other thing is the caucus, again, this is all about leadership. If really it is time for a woman mayor, and I think it would be great, as long as that person is the best qualified, shouldn't the leadership of the caucus saying in front of the caucus in a meeting saying, hey, listen, we have upcoming 3 slots for aldermen. We lose 1 woman. And, should we be looking at maybe focusing on a woman to replace a woman, or vice versa, or whatever? I mean, these are types of things that should be discussed, I think, up front. Now, is that right or wrong? I don't know. But if the caucus then says, hey, listen, not necessarily. If someone said, hey, listen, we're losing a woman on the council, should we focus on interviewing women or the best person, or whatever it might be?
It's always the best person.
Throw your hand up. But if all I'm saying, Pete, if the caucus agrees that they should focus on a woman, I'm okay with that. But I don't like the behind the scenes, bullying that takes place, like, oh, it's time for a woman and all that. No, or in all, if all things being equal, vote for the woman. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. Well,
if you feel as a group it's time, then maybe I'm okay with that. But none of that stuff's done, and then people are pissed off at the end and like, oh, wait a minute.
Prue and JoAnn, they are more organized than the caucuses.
Oh, absolutely are.
And it shouldn't be that way. And
No,
we've been talking about it's been weak leadership from Mike Adams to Kim Phail, and now David Hunt and Chris Benez.
And guess what? And there's you know why that is, Pete? And I'm gonna
tell me.
This is why, like you've said, is because it's never going to change, because their process is just the vice president, and the vice president selected by the caucus committee, or not the committee, the exec council. So it's this little ever going.
But you're the one that said it's the people, not the process. The process is messed up, dude.
It's the people. Pete, if I'm not hiring, if the exec committee, first off, the exec committee was changed again, I believe, to get people on, as we discussed in past ones.
Yep.
So again,
Which everybody can listen to.
People change the process. So the process works unless people are screwing with it. And that's where it is, because it's like, you know, if this exec committee, because now this is how the exec committee is determined, if it's buddy, you know, you're going to be the next president, but you're my best friend as long as you do it this way.
Skoo, here, the vice president should not be automatically turned into the president.
I agree.
And if it is going to be that way,
that was changed.
And there should be more consideration on who the next vice president is going to be. Right?
Yeah, I told her the way it should be is like it used to be before everything was changed, was the exec committee was brought to the entire caucus. Who wants to be, we have an opening here. Who wants to be it? Not secret appointments.
Yeah.
All 43 in a room, you know, we have the exec councils, 4 people are going off. Anyone interested? Raise your hand. That doesn't happen anymore. Right? I mean, you're part of it.
Supposedly it does.
Yeah.
Skoo,
I doubt it. I doubt
this
it.
is a tough thing, because whether
The
you want to
process
say
works.
yes or no, politics come into it. It's
And it shouldn't.
Democrats, Republicans. It just is. It really is, and
it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but it is. So,
but Democrat politics has nothing to do with what's going on right now, or Democrat and Republican. It has nothing to do with what has happened right here, right now, with the
I'll
mayor.
bet those 2 women are Democrats.
No, I don't really care if they are or not. That
Okay.
doesn't play into it, Pete. It doesn't.
Okay. I'm sure they're not listening. If they are, please come on the show and set us straight.
But I'm gonna always push back on the politics thing, because I don't know where politics comes into the fact that somebody didn't get her way, so she's gonna figure out a way to get her way. That has nothing to do with being Democrat or Republican.
If you can use the fact that you are a woman,
that has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. Because last I checked,
it does.
There's a woman.
It does.
There's a woman on both sides.
It's a minority. If you're a minority,
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I'm just going to disagree with you on that. I don't know how.
Disagree on it.
Yeah, I don't know how that comes into play.
It's the victim card.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
All right.
The victim, I don't agree with that. No.
Okay. Well, that's what makes
someone didn't get her way, and they decided this.
I didn't get my way. I'm a victim. Okay.
No, I wouldn't go that
far. So, Skoo, what do we do? What's going to happen next? So,
I don't know.
Supposedly, David Hunt is supposed to send out this email saying,
I hope he doesn't.
Okay.
If he sends out an email saying, you know, I thought his email was good the first time, saying, hey, there's some noise going on, and, you know.
We put that out on the show.
Yeah, and that's where he should leave it. I mean, I just think he does the caucus credibility wrong if he sends out something that, you know, we met in a special meeting, and, you know, we were going to get rid of Randy, but then he came in, and, you know, I don't know how you kind of, you know, then, because here's my thought, what I said earlier.
Who's the leader?
Well, my point is, you send out another email that says, you know, whatever he's going to say, people are going to start going, well, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And I don't think you want that. I mean, because you know what? I don't like what's going on. This guy keeps sending weird emails and all that. Come election time, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They might vote for the non-caucus person. And is that person the right person? You know, I say no, because it's all about leadership and working with the city staff. And if you don't have that ability, and let's be honest, the mayor, sorry, all you mayors, it's a gavel.
Yeah.
You don't vote. The only time you vote is on a tie, and, you know, you just keep kind of the peace, and you run the meeting. And besides,
thank God we got Jason Wika. Did I say his name right again?
Wisha.
Wisha, damn it.
And, so I don't know.
Skoo,
I
nobody
think
likes to see how
they lost their way on what really it all becomes, what they were doing. It kind of
well,
turned into.
who are these 300 people they got together? Because they planned this a long time ago.
Sure. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did when it was, this was grumbled long ago that it's, time for a woman to be mayor. But, and you know what? And it probably is time for a woman to be mayor. But you know what? You got to be the best one.
Yes.
You got to be the best
Yes.
candidate.
Yes. Yes. We agree on that, Skoo. We agree
No,
on that.
yeah. I mean, and if the woman's the best candidate, then move forward. And I thought Prue was, but then Prue just demonstrated how bad a mayor she would be. Because what, you just circumvent processes that you don't like? I mean, come on. You don't like what the city's decided, so you're going to try to undermine that? Look what happened when some people undermined the city process and all that, got a lawsuit.
Yeah. You think Melanie's behind any of this?
I haven't heard her name, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Because
or
you're the one that told me that.
Or if she's not
Well, you're the one that said she has no chance if she would run. So if she
Well,
can't run,
you want to talk about smart?
yeah.
If she's not behind this Prue thing, which I'm starting to wonder if she is, because I'm starting to think she's running on her own. And what a mess she's gaining to run against the caucus.
Yeah.
Talk about smart. The caucus looks like it's in chaos if he sends out another email. Well, we were going to get rid of Randy, but we decided not to because, this and that. It's like, I'd say this other guy that's running, if I was him, I'd be taking some serious notes, and that's what you run on, how you can correct it. Because it is, you and I both agree, it is broken. And I guess we disagree on process versus people, but the only way a process can be broken is what? By a person.
People. Yeah.
And we have the wrong people in a lot of wrong spots. And now it's starting to, what do they say? I forget the saying, but
implode.
No, I mean, it's coming back to roost. I mean, this is where, and again, what was it, a year ago or whatever we had in the podcast, that, you know what, it's going to be, David Hunt, that's great that you're going to be president of the caucus and all that. He's going to be facing a situation where he's going to have to lead, and he has failed, in my opinion, right now. And our last podcast, I said the email he sent was good. That's what he needs. That's leadership. And now we have a special emergency meeting because I can't make a decision and stand my ground.
You've changed my, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt out there, because they have been first of all, we've been pretty good picking up on this because, the day of the election, we like 3:00, we put this thing out that said, hey, there's some weird stuff going out there. Right. And, these two women, or two people, sorry, can't say women anymore.
Okay.
They said, hey, TAC is this, TAC is that, blah, 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 blah. Confused. There's two reasons why people don't buy. They're not sufficiently disturbed, or they don't understand the offer. So if you put all this misinformation out there, it's like, oh, I don't know what's going to go. Whoever is marketing it more, they're going to believe. So.
Yeah. Well, the funniest thing about that email was that they brought up issues on
the railroad,
what Randy voted against. And I'm like, how is that a problem? Every alderman that goes up for a re-interview with the caucus to, go to the next term or whatever, in my opinion, it's not a rubber stamp. What they should be doing, Dave, this is a hint for you. what they should be doing is going to the city and saying, okay, Ward 1 alderman is up for re-election. Can you give me his voting or her voting record? And that should be the question in the conversation with that alderman. It's like, hey, Alderman 1, it looks like you voted 45 times in your term and 45 times you voted no on everything. What's up with that? Or you voted yes. You know, those are substance things, and let the alderman then explain, or it was 30 and 15 or whatever,
Right.
and let them explain why. That's a report card. It's not, how'd you prepare for this meeting? You can do that to a non-incumbent, but these incumbents, isn't it a chance for them to educate the caucus committee on, here's what I've done, here's what I view, this is why I want to move forward. Not just like, oh, it's a rubber stamp.
Tell you what, Skoo, pull up their email from the two ladies.
No, I can't do that. I got to switch over to. Nah, that's too much for me.
Oh, you don't have to share it, but basically I was going to have you just read it and just like the big thing is the railroad, right?
Right. Yeah, the big thing's the railroad, but I guess that was a dead issue. See, JoAnn and Desmond is still lingering on that thing that's been dead.
That's
what
I'm saying. So it's
and
like,
here's the other thing: is
go down each point. I'm a newcomer. You're an old comer. Just say, hey, you know what? That was a federal issue that we didn't want to spend local dollars dealing with something that's not local.
Right. And on top of it, she doesn't have a. You know what? It was turned away. There's not a third rail. You know, and you know, if CP wants to do it,
okay. So what
they can do it.
What
it's their rail.
What else are they complaining about?
Well, Pete, that's the whole thing. Here's a lady who's very intelligent,
Yeah.
who decided, I'm gonna, you know what? She's using the woman card, and she's, you know, going to Prue, saying, hey, listen, you know, you got screwed. Well, let's. Oh, and guess what? I can scream about my old issue because the guy that they put forward voted against. You know, he wanted to have it or whatever it was. He's a bad person. You're right.
And Melanie's funding it.
I you know, as I've heard more, I don't even know if she is. I think she's sitting in the wings going, let all these guys screw everything up and then I'll run.
All right. She'll contest.
Oh,
that's pretty
that's
genius.
what I'm talking. I don't think Melanie wanted to be replaced at the caucus. I think she's just like, yeah, you guys go for it. This is crazy what you're doing.
That's what's going on, Skoo. The lawsuit is settled. She's gonna let these guys chew, and then pop up, contest.
She's gonna let Dave Hunt hang the caucus and put them in turmoil by sending out all these emails, and then she's gonna sit there and go, okay, now I'm gonna run because I'm Melanie. I'm gonna fix
that.
Everything.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna fix
sense.
everything and vote for me because I'll fix everything.
Okay.
Hopefully that is not the case, but because again, I will just say if she does that, that's fine. She can run and all that. But again, staying into the process, she's
welcome
to
come on the show too.
Yeah, she was not selected in that process.
Yeah,
wasn't even a candidate. Well, it was a candidate, but didn't even get moved forward. But
well, Skoo, here's what I do know. Dr. Tack said he would think about coming on the show. That is a step in the right direction. The two ladies out there, whatever your motives are, come on.
I want to say, I don't want to say it deep, but I am almost positive that Dave Hunt said to Tack, if you want us to move you forward, you cannot go on the podcast. I don't know. I just have experience with that somehow.
You know, maybe I do too, but we'll see. We blow a lot of crap to the caucus, and there are some good people on there.
Absolutely.
They're putting like 30 hours a week in this stuff. I think
It's
this last
amazing.
7 days, I think they told me they had 3 meetings of like 3 hours apiece. I mean,
And you know why?
you know,
It's because not of the foolishness going on, because they have a huge slate to fill.
yeah.
School board, 3 aldermen and a mayor. That's pretty unprecedented, at the same time.
Yeah, but nobody's talking about the school boards. It's this mayor thing. I think the
Well,
school boards
that's
are going to get.
that's because everyone was happy with the school board selection. Pete, you got the mayor because one of the finalists got snubbed, and some other person outside says, "I don't like that." Randy didn't do himself any good with that article, but
Wait, what did
there was an
what did he
article
do?
done by the Tribune. Some people didn't like how it was done.
Well, call a spade a spade. What did he say?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
All right.
I don't get
Well,
the
Dr.
Tribune.
Tack, come on
You
here.
mentioned it in one of the podcasts. Your buddy at go
Dumb
check
and
like
Dumber.
three back. There's an article that
All right.
what's his name did, and you were saying
Dorfman.
it was a great article, and and apparently some people didn't like that,
Okay.
but
I can't believe I've said something that people don't like.
I didn't say you said something people don't like. I said,
Skoo, this has been a busy week for us for the Lake Forest podcast. We are on top of things.
For being dumb and
dumber,
seem to have been kind of spot on all this stuff.
We were 3:00 Wednesday. We were on top of things, Skoo. We did a podcast that
not
Wednesday.
Even 3:00, Pete. We were like months ahead of this. I mean, we didn't say the people, but we kind of called what was going to. And look,
here we go. So, Skoo, I'm going to hurry up and edit this and throw it out there. And Dr. Tack, come on. JoAnn and Prue, come on. Hunt, come on. Whatever. Let's go.
Get some stones.